your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio, broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. I was trying to find my camera. Sometimes it makes me work for it. So I'm so happy that you're here with us today, and it's an exciting, special day because, we have our sponsor, Chris Wootton. I know Bob Smiley thought I was talking about him, but
Are you proud of me for not jumping in? Like I think this is the longest I've not jumped in. But go ahead.
That's okay.
You were saying something great about me?
Yes, I'm so happy we have this special guest, Bob Smiley, and I thank Chicken Max for feeding him and Richard. And I got to tell you, I was so worried because I didn't know if Bob had ever even heard of Chicken Max because he doesn't live around here.
Are you talking about Chicken Max, the greatest chicken place in the world?
Oh, you do know about it. That's great.
I love their chicken and their Max.
And hot honey.
And hot honey. They have hot honey. I actually said to Richard, would you like my hot honey? Which I've never said.
To another guy?
To another guy.
Yeah, he always tries to come in here and pass that on to me. It's weird.
That's awesome. We have Bob Smiley. Bob Smiley is world-renowned Christian comedian.
And author of what?
And author of The Adventures of the Average Kid. Did I do it right?
How long have we known each other? And I've been writing the
Over 20
Average
years.
Boy
Average Boy
series for 21 years.
You have not.
I have. I've been writing that
as long as we've known each other?
For Focus on the Family, I started writing for Clubhouse Magazine, their junior high magazine. I wrote The Adventures of Average Boy once a month, and then I wrote 2 comedy devotion books for middle school kids. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote the 3rd fiction book, Average Boys Above Average Year. And what did you post this morning? Author of An Average Kid.
You were talking about yourself. I thought this was all about you, and I thought, well, he's an average kid. Yeah, that sounds right. No, I should have done better research on that. But I sat and watched him for hours on Facebook Reels, on Instagram, and then your family.
And you commented on my MySpace page, which I don't know why you're
Napster?
still...
Okay.
Yeah. You listen to my
you
stuff
got off
on
of the
Friendster?
Napster? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's bad? I get really hooked into the Reels. I love to watch those. Except now I have totally gotten disillusioned with them because they don't finish the thing. You have to go to another website.
If it's over a minute, they figured out if it's over a minute, then they can trick you into like clicking on it.
And
it's all
I've had
clickbait.
it.
It's all clickbait.
I've I'm done with it. So
and you're looking at the biggest lure in Conroe right here.
Yeah.
Because I post stuff all the time. Like I've got so many comedy projects. I break up little stuff, but now I realize if I make it over a minute, then they'll click into my reels, and then they're,
So you're doing that too?
I mean, I'm not doing it maliciously. I'm trying to make people's lives better and fill them with joy and happiness.
That's what I've tried to tell people. If you want a little laughter in your life, you got to go and watch his bits, because and I know it's broken up, and I love that. That way, I'm not having to watch. You talk to the audience, to get mad at the audience, and throwing things at you, and all that.
I almost did that. December 28th, I did a show in Mississippi, and I have never done a show. I've done some stuff on stage with Tim Hawkins. I've done some stuff on stage with John Chris and Johnny W., a couple other comedians. But it's always been less than 10 minutes of doing stuff together. I did a full hour with a 3-year-old. Now, I didn't know I was going to do a full hour with a 3-year-old, but somebody brought their 3-year-old and put her on the front row and then sat somewhere in the back, because I tried to guilt the parents that were sitting right behind the 3-year-old, who was rolling on the pew. It was in a church, and yelling out and everything. At one point, and I'm always torn, because I am a nice guy, so I don't want to make people uncomfortable, and I'm glad people come to my shows. But at some point, I'm like, look, you're disrupting the whole show. Like, parent your kid. Like, grab your kid.
Did she come up on stage?
She came up on stage one time, and I just went, bah! and she wasn't even that scared, though. She just kind of went, ha ha ha, and ran back off. But at one point, I was telling this story that was a comedy story, but they wanted me to have kind of a motivational message, like an encouraging message.
Right.
So I was talking about going to the prisons, and I was getting to this really like sweet moment of where God kind of was like doing some stuff in my life. And she just kept hollering out. And finally, I just looked at the crowd, and I was like, I love telling this story. I wish I was the only one telling it right now. And I was thinking maybe that would, nothing. No. Just like, so I did a full hour with another person, like talking the entire time.
Did you split the fee or anything with her?
No, she doesn't know about percentages yet. So.
Good.
Actually, she's 3, so she probably has a TikTok page. So I'm sure
you're
she's,
right.
Like getting monetized somehow.
Are you still on TikTok?
Yes, for all the sinners out there, I am on TikTok.
You'll let anybody.
But I post stuff on there because I post stuff everywhere. But man, you get shadow banned so quickly for things. And so if I say anything, and I do my Smiley minutes, which is like a look at the news and stuff, and no matter what I'm talking about now, if I put up a Smiley minute, boom, instant shadow ban for 2 weeks.
Ooh,
and so I don't know what I've done, but they definitely are watching that like a hawk. Like it is not the free world over there. So I just kind of throw stuff up there, just for those that it does make it through, the algorithm to some people. So
well, you haven't been banned from TikTok, have you?
I've not been kicked off. The longest I was shadow banned was a month.
What could you do to get banned from TikTok?
I did a video one time where, and I knew that it was going to be controversial. I didn't know it was going to get me banned for a month, but I was, and I did it from the standpoint of, I'm an idiot. I don't get it. Sending that much money to a foreign country, I'm going to talk like I'm actually recording for TikTok, because you have to learn how to like not say things. But I'm like, sending that much taxpayer dollars repeatedly over there, and then seeing some of that money come back to certain people, it seems like there's some. But I'm an idiot. I don't get it. I don't get. And there were several little like policies in the people that we vote for. You like that? I didn't say GOV.
Yeah.
And so, but it was all pointing out the absurdity and stuff that was happening. But from the standpoint of me saying, but I don't get it. I'm not a smart person.
Right.
And
I love that. That was such a good disclaimer.
About 10 minutes, and then gone, like just gone.
Ooh.
And then I was off for a month. Like I could put stuff up there, but it would get like 4 views instead of I was getting like 50,000 views, and then all of a sudden it's like, you got 4 people watching your stuff. So yeah, well, it's very
a good friend
controlled.
of mine said that he did. He put up the Lord's Prayer, and and he got kicked off or put in Facebook jail. And I was like, oh, shoot. And that's what, and so I did the Lord's Prayer, the song, the Lord's Prayer, and I'd signed it. I didn't say a thing. I just signed it, and just wondered if they would take it off. And he thought that was so funny because he said, I don't think they even recognize what you were doing.
Yeah, did you do closed caption?
No, I didn't do anything.
Because even if you sign stuff, and then if it's in closed caption, that goes through an algorithm and it'll get pulled.
See, so there was no spoken word, so they couldn't caption anything.
Figure it out, and they're not going to take time to learn another language.
As long as Jesus knew it, it was done. Okay,
Yeah.
but it was funny. But a lot of like deaf people would comment on it, and after they commented on it, they saw that it was the Lord's Prayer, and other people would comment, but they never took it off. They dare not take it off.
Here's what's crazy. I got into comedy so I wouldn't have to get a job, and I spent hours having to learn all this stuff. You were talking about how Facebook's changed so much, and I'm like, I know what you're talking about because I have to keep up with that stuff now. And I'm like, I might as well have just gotten a real job, because I'm having to study forms and algorithms and all that.
And work
kind of
with your
stuff.
children more because they're the only ones that know it.
My favorite one that we've done here at the studios, we're a nonprofit, and we have all the documentation. But
that explains the furniture.
Trying to tell Facebook this, we got to the point where they're like, oh, we can't help you. I'm like, I don't understand how you can't make us a nonprofit. Like, you can't donate to us on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we talked to him for, I would say, at least 4 to 5 hours over the time period. And I'm like, here's my bank, here's the IRS, here's my name. And the only thing they didn't like is my Facebook page didn't match the nonprofit, official LLC kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm not going to change our Facebook page to be some boring corporate nonprofit name. Yeah. I'm not going to do it.
Well, my YouTube is now Robert Smiley because of that. Because when I got monetized, when I got monetized, and back then it was just like, yeah, you're bringing a lot of viewers, here's some money. And then I guess when I think Google bought it and changed everything, I had 2 different profiles, and they didn't like that, and so they banned both of them. Didn't ban them, but they cut off monetization. So it took me 6 years of constantly responding to them. And actually during COVID, I was like, oh, I got nothing else to do. Let's get remonetized. And so I spent most of COVID getting remonetized on YouTube, but you have to change. It has to match your tax records.
Yeah.
So if you go to YouTube now, it says Robert Smiley, because Bob Smiley is too much of a stretch.
Ooh.
I could be faking it.
Yeah, you could. That's true.
Yeah, it's just there's so many rules, and
I tried to do about 3 or 4 of the saying you're going to be here today, and so I started one with Bob Smiley, and I kept looking at it. I went, nobody will know that except somebody that's of age, and they'll think I just repeat. Okay. And I overthink everything that I'm doing on this because I know you'll blast me for it. And then I did the average kid, the average boy, the adventures of the average boy.
Adventures of the Average Boy, yeah.
Is it The Average Boy?
The Adventures of Average Boy.
Adventures of Average Boy.
And the podcast, the award-winning podcast.
The award-winning.
Did you know we won last year's NRB, National Religious Broadcasting Podcast of the Year? Was the official Average Boy podcast. Yeah, we put it out during COVID because we thought, families are at home.
This is perfect.
Let's give them something to listen to with their kids, and not realizing that people would still keep listening to it because they're short. So you drive to the school or driving to the grocery store and stuff. They're short enough to pop them in and keep your kids laughing and stuff. And then so the official Average Boy podcast. Allow me to do all the research for the guest today, Cindy.
Hey, I was impressed. She gave me your website.
Yeah. Oh, you remember?
I was really impressed with that.
Well,
it was robertsmiley.com. Is that what it was?
It was. I think I've talked about this though because
BobSmiley.com.
There's a writer named Bob Smiley who was out in L.A. for a long time. He also followed Tiger Woods and wrote a book on Tiger Woods. And the only reason why we know each other is because he used to write for a TV show called Yes Dear. Have I told you this story?
No.
And so it was on, I think, NBC, and the NBC interns, they do tours with people. And so they were walking by, and they were like, oh, these are the writers of Yes, Dear. And it had a list of all the writers. And these two girls were like, wait a minute, is it Bob Smiley? And they were like, yeah. And they were like, can we meet him? Like, we're huge fans. So he knocked on the door, called this guy, and was like, so he emailed me.
Oh, that's so cool.
And he was like, I just met two of your fans. And he said, I knew I disappointed women in general, but I have never seen that much of a disappointment than when I walked out and they were like, oh. And so here's what's funny. So we've only talked through email. And we talk about once every 3 or 4 months because we get requests. So anytime he has a book comes out, and he's a phenomenal writer, and he's written children's books. So one of my Average Boy books, or The Average Kid, according to Cindy, won an award, and his book was up for an award, and they had trouble figuring out where to mail the awards to because there were two Bob Smileys that won children's book things. But we only talk because sometimes I'll get a radio interview request, and it's like, I really want to talk about like Follow the Roar, the Tiger Woods book that you wrote. And I'm like, oh, this is going to but we're friends. We've never met. We have the same name, and we're kind of in the same profession. And he's just a super cool guy. Like, he's a super nice guy.
That's awesome. Yeah. But we want everybody that's listening today. Hi, Chris Rossetti. Hi,
and
James
Mom.
Cirillo. And hi, Dennis O'Connor.
Yeah, how do you... Because you can read comments, right?
Richard can.
Richard, have we gotten any comments? Or are we not supposed to ask that?
They're listening with, everything. They don't have time to comment.
They don't have time to stop and ask us questions.
I have to approve them.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because we have some listeners that like to say nasty things.
Yeah, my
Wait
fans.
a minute.
This is one of those shows. I never want to tell Cindy because she'll feel like it's her fault that
Yeah.
this nastiness is coming into the world. See what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you see anything from Tim Hawkins, do not let that
Don't
through.
click on
I actually talked to him on the way up here, and I was like, I'm going up to do this radio interview. And he was like,
Sam
where is it going to
Cochran.
be? And I was like, nope, not telling you.
If Sam Cochran comments, let's not go there. But
It'll be in all caps, like just yelling.
I don't think I've ever told him that if you put in all caps, it's like
screaming.
you're yelling. Yeah, you're screaming at him. But I do want to ask you about the tour that you did. I listened to that show. I went back and listened to the show that you did of the marriage isn't a 4-letter word, or what was
single's not a 4-letter
Single's
word.
not a 4-letter word. 1, 2, S-I-N-G-L-E.
Reaching way back.
Yes, way back
Yeah.
with that girl named Pompalello. I could never pronounce her
Carrie
last name.
Pomerode.
Pomerode, yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't pronounce the name.
Yeah.
But it was really good, and she was really good.
Mm-hmm.
You had the first part of the show, and then we brought her in.
No.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. You got to speak. You got to say stuff, and then finally she was on the phone, and
Oh,
we
you
brought her
mean
in.
for the on your show?
Yeah, on my
I
show.
thought you meant our tour. Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, because she would come out and open, and then I would come out and do some, and then we'd usually have an intermission, and then she would come out and
back?
do another set, and then I would do a set, and then we'd close taking questions. That's how we ran and it was great because it was good variety, and
Oh yeah.
it was kind of a he said she said kind of show, so it was fun. I thought you meant that. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, you looked at me like, wait a minute, I just listened to the show. I've got to have something right in my head.
You do have that right.
I always have to play the age card. But anyway, it was really a good show. And then I listened to the one where you came in, and it wasn't Rich. I don't know whether it was Richard, but someone told you, okay, you must open the show because I was late. And it was
a normal time that I came here. Like, that could be any. Can you narrow it down a little bit?
I couldn't believe.
I think it was when it was Lone Star Internet Radio.
Okay.
Oh, when I had to do it by myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you started the show.
Because you and I just, like, we naturally talk. In fact, every time you call me, I'm glad you texted me this time, because normally you'll call me and you'll say, hey, I can't get anybody. I've tried every single person, and I can't find anybody. Will you come do the show? And then we end up talking for 2 hours on the phone. And I'm like, maybe we should save some of this for.
It was perfect. It was perfect. I know. I thought I've got to remember what all we said because that was really such a good.
So I don't ever think about it. I do like to save stuff because I'm like, what if there's viewers that are having trouble falling asleep? We need to save this conversation to help them. That, yeah. But you were late because it was your show, and I had never just sat behind a mic with nobody to bounce off of. And yeah, you were like, all right, here we go, 3, 2, 1, and I was like. Anyone want to ask me anything? Like, I could not think of
call in
anything, and I didn't want to just sit there and start doing my act, but I think I probably did.
Yeah, we made a lot of money that day.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Made a lot of money that day. Yeah. I'm sure it was the up count. You had were holding the record for having so many people, jump on until I had Elvis people come on and
then they break the record,
like 900, 1,000. Okay,
I didn't know it was a competition.
Mindy Miller,
game on.
I never thought that. And Don Wilson, if you're listening, this is not going to, because Don's going to be on tomorrow. He's my Elvis connection, and the women just loved whenever he would come on and be able to talk. He's going to talk and say all these stories that you would never hear anywhere else. And it was so salacious. No, but anyway, we...
my fan base is Christian, right? You want to know what's funny? John, do you know who John Christ is?
No.
Okay, do you know? You don't know who John Christ is? Can you just give me a clip of just this moment so I can send it to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Put a marker in or whatever you have to do. John Christ is a huge, famous comedian and stuff, and his Facebook got hacked. Right before Christmas, and when they hacked it, they didn't steal any of his stuff or charge anything. They just put pornographic photos on his story. And John, he's really famous, and so you really can't get to John to talk to John, except for his close circle. And I'm accessible to anybody, so my phone started blowing up with all these comedians, all these Christian comedians, sending me texts saying, hey, you need to contact John because his Facebook's been hacked. But they were screenshotting the photos that were on his story and sending them to me.
So now they're on,
I guess, proof. So I'm sitting at dinner with Sarah, and all these photos keep popping up, and she's like, what? And I was like, these are my Christian comedian friends. But it was the weirdest. And finally, I just start texting guys. I don't need proof. I don't need you to send me stuff. And he knows. He is well aware of his Facebook page being hacked, and it was the weirdest hour and a half of my life. Just okay, nobody get near my phone. It was.
Oh yay!
It was I don't need to see it. Just tell me.
Yeah, they could at least send you something funny that you could use in a bit or something, but not porn. And even to say that word, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're gonna get shadow banned.
Yeah, but you know what the worst word that you could say around Bob Smiley? Just try and think about it, Richard. What do you think the worst word you could say?
I'm gonna spell it.
It starts with a S.
Are you talking about you? What he could say to you?
No, what he could, a word that could come out of his mouth or your mouth to him, and he would be so mad, he would stop going to church where you went.
Do I know? I don't know this. I thought you meant the word debt.
No.
It really makes me angry.
No, it was stupid. One of the preachers used the word stupid in a sermon, and you were so mad because you taught your children you don't say that word.
Oh yeah, so I taught my kids let's watch what we say, right. And it was when they were super young. It's not my kid he's a junior at A&M right now.
Yeah,
he can say stupid.
Okay,
and he can say toot. I don't want him to say the other variations of that yet, but. He's only 21, but he can say stupid now. No, but good. Early on, I was trying to teach my kids how to control. And not only did the preacher say it at church, but I had toured with a band called Third Day. And Mac Powell is the lead singer. Right. He's the most godly man I've ever met. He's like our Rich Mullins, our version of Rich Mullins, if you know who that is. Just super awesome guy. but they won like 8 Dove Awards, which is like the Christian Grammys.
Right.
And about the 7th one, he got up and we were watching it on TV. And my kids had hung out with Mac and revered Mac. And Mac gets up and he's like, y'all, this is stupid. Because they had won so many awards. And Coulter yelled out, don't say stupid. He was so mad. He was like, I thought he was a Christian, you know. Which is weird. Coulter was talking like that. He was 18 at the time, but he wasn't 18. But yeah, as a little kid, he was like, so... I forgot about that.
I shot them at Cynthia Woods.
Oh yeah,
when they were there, and I had, you know how I thought it was. There's Third Day, and there's another group that's not Christian.
Blind?
Yeah, Third Eye Blind, and I thought that's like we were going to be shooting.
I've done shows with both of them, and there's a difference. There's quite a difference.
Yes, there is. I love those guys. They were wonderful, and Mac was great because he had twins. Didn't he have? He had twins.
He don't have twins, but he's got a lot of kids, and they adopted several kids.
Okay, yeah,
it was
great.
I was in Dallas one morning, a Sunday morning. I'd done a show that night, and this was in maybe right after Thanksgiving, and I'm tired, and I'm like in the middle of like I had 8 shows in 10 days, and I'm sitting in Dallas, and I'm eating an omelet, but they had you sit at these tabletops that faced out toward the airport where everybody's walking by, and the menu to go into the restaurant is right by me. So I'm eating, and people keep coming up to me, and so I keep looking up like, yes, and they're just looking at the menu. So I finally, and it's like 6:30 in the morning, and finally I'm like, I'm not going to look again, and I'm just eating, and I see this shadow come up, and I'm eating, and I'm like, okay, this guy's a slow reader because there's only like 4 things on the menu, and then he's getting closer and closer, and I'm like, you're not going to trick me. You're not going to I don't know why it's a big deal to look. And then finally I look, and he's like right here, and it's Mac Powell. And he literally just kept leaning in. And I was like, how close we were going to go? And he was like, I was going to make my presence known.
Yeah. Oh, my
Although
word.
he said it more like, I'm going to make my presence known. Because he's got the golden voice, man.
He does. He does.
He's got
That's
that
funny.
voice.
But were you sitting there thinking that they were maybe fans and they recognized you?
It does happen, Cindy. You're saying it like that's the most ridiculous thing. You want to know my favorite? So I've probably told this on this story before, but when I guess it was the first year I was here in the Woodlands, and I had a CD out, and my, the Average Kid series was going strong. Average boy.
You're gonna mess up one time in an interview and go.
And so Anyway, I just gotten off this big tour, and I was kind of feeling like, okay, this looks like it's going to be a career. And I walk into the bank one day, and the little lady that was, the checkout lady deal, I gave her my deposit, and she looks up and she kind of goes, I know who you are. And I don't know why. I was like, oh, did you see me on the Festival Candios tour, or you got my CD? And she goes, and I never get cocky like that, but she goes, no, I used to work at Starbucks, and you were in there all the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then it happened again in 2020, because when all my shows canceled, I didn't know how long it was going to last. Mm-hmm. And we have 5 boys. And so I started Uber Eats driving. And, I mean, I got pretty good at it. Like, I learned, and Sunday nights were the best because families would get home from church and they didn't want to. So I knew the areas to be sitting and waiting. Like, I got so into it and made
You feel like a vulture?
I really did.
Waiting.
I got really into it. In fact, my, dry bar comedy. Do you guys get out at all? You don't know John Chris or Dry Bar? So Dry Bar Comedy is this company that puts out comedy specials. And it's like a big deal to have a dry bar special. And my second one dropped in March when we all were quarantined, like not supposed to leave the house in Texas. And it came out, and I got a text on a Sunday. It came out on a Sunday night, and I was Uber Eats driving. And a friend of mine, this comedian, was like, because they don't tell you when your special comes out. And so he texted me, and he was like, your second special just dropped, and it's really good. And I had to text him and go, I appreciate that, but I've got to deliver this Taco Bell to this 3rd floor at this apartment complex. And then we'll talk about my second dry bar special. It was like the most humbling. But then I was in HEB at Market Street here, and I was walking around, and this guy walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, I know you." And I don't know why I didn't learn from the bank like deal, but I go, "Oh yeah, you see my dry bar special?" And he goes, "No, you delivered food to us last night." And I looked and I saw his kids, and I had delivered food, and his kids were being so loud and obnoxious, and so I started telling them jokes, and they like listened to me for a little bit, and I made them laugh, and the guy tipped me really well, but I didn't remember him, and that's what he knew me. And so it was another case of like, oh, I'm not a comedian. I'm an Uber Eats driver. Like it was really humbling.
Well, but does that ever get like annoying because you're trying to eat and you're trying to have a romantic dinner with your wife, and they're coming up and saying, "Can I get your autograph?" And
that rarely happens because if I'm having a romantic dinner with my wife, nobody's going to walk up at a drive-through, and like shout something in a car, But I get what you're saying.
That's a good point.
No, because I've been doing this 26 years. I have never canceled a show. And at the end, I think the beginning of November, I got bronchitis and the flu and completely lost my voice. And I had to cancel a show. I'd never canceled a show. I'm actually this weekend heading out. It's in Louisiana. I'm doing the makeup show for this
canceled?
Show that I had to cancel. But I had to cancel, and I couldn't talk. I was on voice restriction. I went to the doctor based on something like, what did my wife say? She said, "You're going to the doctor." That's what it was. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to the doctor." It's like a Jedi mind trick. She said, "You're going to the doctor." Like, these are not the credit card bills to look at. She's really good at that. And so I went to an ENT.
Yeah.
Do you know what it's ear, nose, and throat?
Yes.
You can't just go look at. There's no throat doctors. Like they just want to.
They have to be.
Like, if I have to look at your throat, I'm going to mess with your ears.
Yeah.
Like so I went to the ENT. Yeah. I guess because I don't know. But again, I'm not a doctor person. Were we talking about that on or off the air earlier? Off the air. So I'm not a doctor person. I don't go to the doctor. And I went in and they took me to the back, and the doctor came right in and then of course left because he realized he didn't make me wait an hour. And so that's true. He poked his head in, and he was like, "Oh, I'll be back." And then like an hour later, I was like, "What? Like you need to see a doctor if you were gone an hour."
It probably didn't look like you were dying. So
yeah, I guess. But he came in and he was like, "I need you. I'm gonna have to run a cable and look at your voice box." And I take photos with people all the time, so I wasn't too nervous. But I don't go to the doctor. I don't do any kind of procedures, anything like that. And so I'm nervous. And so the first thing he does is he's like, "I got a camera on the end of a cable." So then he pulls up the cable, and it's way too much cable. I'm looking, it's way too much cable. But I'm like, it's going to be fine because it's not that far down to my, vocal cords. So I lean back and I open up my mouth, and he tell me if you've heard of this, because I've started talking about this in other interviews, and people say this is normal. He takes the cable and he runs it up my nose. And just starts running it up my nose. I thought obviously he was going to go
through your mouth.
And he's running it up, and I'm uncomfortable, but I'm me, so I'm making jokes. I'm like, "I should tell you, my socks don't match." And without even, he's doing it, and he goes, "Yeah, I can see that. That's not gonna be a problem." Like, just no. And he's going, and I was like, I don't want to, because I didn't want to make him mad, but I was like, "Why wouldn't you warn me? Like what you're about to do?" I guess he just thought I knew that was the procedure. And I go, "I don't want to tell you your business, but I have a more direct route, and it's less traffic this time of day." And he's just, and this is why I think this is a good story, because he had no sense of humor. But as he's doing it, he goes, "I've had 3 years of online doctor training. Don't tell me my business." I was like,
"That's great.
That was really
oh my
funny.
Goodness.
But anyway,
That's great.
I got my voice looked at and a free colonoscopy. So it turned out, but so he made me not talk for, I forget.
How long was that? How long was the?
It was, well, here's the deal. I think it was supposed to be 2 weeks, but.
No, I said, how long was the cable? You said, and he gave me a colonoscopy.
He stopped when he hit a heel.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was just making sure.
Way too far down. It was the weirdest thing. And then as he's got it in, and I can see it now up on the screen, and he goes, I need you to go, hee hee, which I've looked up, and that is so they can see the vibrations. But he goes, I need you to go hee hee, and I thought he was saying that because I was a comedian, and I go, can you say something funny first? And he goes, how about I tell you how much I'm charging you for this? And again, no sense of humor. It didn't look like, but his lines were great.
Sense of
his
humor.
lines were really great.
Oh my word!
So he put me on. I think it was supposed to be 2 weeks, but they gave the paper to Sarah, so I think she changed it. Like I used to change my report card grades, and she made it 3 weeks. So the whole reason why I'm telling you this story. No, I don't get tired of people coming up and saying, Sarah and I were in HEB the other day, and there were 2 kids, and they listen to the Average Boy podcast, and they follow me and know only because of the Average Boy series, and they came up, and then as they were talking and everything, the dad just kind of leaned over and he was like, man, thanks for putting that stuff out there, like to have good, wholesome, but funny stuff. So yeah, I don't ever get tired of any of that. Like I love what I do, and for like longer than 3 weeks. So I was off for a month, and it was driving me crazy not being able to do shows, not being able to interact with people. Or
I started whisper, saying, right?
I wasn't even supposed to whisper.
No, because that's worse.
Yeah, and so I craved. I mean, we're all built for community anyway,
right? But
I craved it. I started saying yes to radio interviews I swore I would never go back and do, and it was a lack of a judgment, but it's because I missed it. Yeah.
No, the reason I wanted you on the first show, with a guest, because we were going to have a show yesterday, but Richard was driving back from.
She didn't even remember me telling her I wasn't going to be here on Tuesday, and this was like, I want to say at Christmas time, because I told her, like, hey, just to let you know, the Tuesdays following Christmas and New Year's, I'm not going to be here.
Did I not tell you that my memory is from 500 feet from where I put the garbage cans in the back of the trunk to when I got to the street? That was it.
Yeah.
Cindy, you
so
just
what do you
said
think? That. Oh, I forgot.
Do you not remember saying that? Here's what's great. She knows I'm joking. She will go back and watch just to make sure.
No, but
don't feel bad. You weren't the only one who forgot.
Who else?
Because I was getting phone calls all day yesterday, and I was like, I'm pretty sure. Like I told everybody I wasn't going to be here.
Yeah. Oh, so you didn't do any show?
No show. No show. There was a no show, and so because I was going to promote you being here today, and that's what made it difficult. And I just hope that you have, but you have fans that follow you and are, just
I didn't know it was a competition on how many viewers you guys get.
Well, and I will let you know, Bob, the reason that video was so popular was because of the title I put into it was very controversial because it said Elvis's last girlfriend.
And her fans went, Elvis's fans went crazy because they knew that she wasn't the last one.
Yeah.
And so they just and she was trying to get.
Because apparently that's like an underground honor to be the last girlfriend of. I would not want to be the last.
So can we title this Bob Smiley's newest girlfriend? And just put that out there.
And just put, I
mean, it's still going to be Sarah,
Smiley,
but so it's going to be disappointing once they listen. But
now if they see
you got to
her,
go opposite. You got to do like Bob Smiley, not a Christian comedian anymore.
That's right.
And then Bob Smiley lets loose.
Yeah, let's loose.
We see the real.
That's what we should have done.
Oh, yeah.
But see, that's why I didn't start the show out with the question I wanted to discuss, because you said, what are we going to discuss? Mm-hmm. And I told you that the Boxing Association has said that now that they're going to let men get in the ring with women and fight the women that are trans.
I would watch that.
See, that's all they're after.
Our
eyeballs succeed.
Well,
come see this.
Why not?
If people watch it, then that's just going to give them more, like plausibility to say, hey, this is what people want. So if you're against it, don't watch it. Don't talk about it. Don't, and if you're for it, then explain why. Tell us.
Explain.
Here's what I don't understand.
People are getting hit in the face.
Yeah.
That's why I like watching it.
And
but there's plenty of that.
harmful.
Yeah.
Like with guys hitting guys. Here's what baffles my mind. All these women that talk about women's rights and women's all this stuff, they're also on the side of letting these men come in and like pummel. And I've seen. I didn't know about the news story that you were talking about, or that I guess it was decided today or
This morning they came out with
I
it.
haven't kept up with any of that stuff, but I have seen photos of women that have gone up against these men and just get pummeled. And I'm like, okay, at some point you got to admit genders are different, and like those women are in danger if you open that up to,
Of course. And they talked about all the they have really strict rules. You have to be 0.5 testosterone level, and that would make you
to be
weak.
considered to be in
Trans,
the league with women.
Yeah. That you have
So
to
how
be
do they do that? They time you how long you nag people, or like what do you There's your clickbait
No,
right there.
they-
Bob Smiley came in promoting the Gospels. He left Sodom and Gomorrah. There's your title.
No, they have to. I believe they have to have a period every month before they can get in the ring with another woman, and use that anger and that kind of strength.
So you want everybody on that 28th day.
Yeah,
That's when you want to see the fights.
right. Then I want to see the fight. Then it's fair, but it's not. It's just not fair. It is not fair at all for all this. They just need to have a trans, their own
League.
division.
Yeah.
And that would be fine.
I don't know, because I haven't done a lot of reading up on all this stuff because I don't understand their voice. I'm not in their mind. I'm not in their body. So I'm not going to jump in and go, oh, you just need to be like me. So I do understand that there are people out there that feel different, think different, and all that. And we're in a free country.
Right.
But at some point, when women are getting just pummeled because of a political, thing of like, oh, we need to all just, go with whatever we all decide. Everybody's, got to go with it. No. At some point, you got to sit back and go, okay, are we? Yeah, the bathroom issue is a great deal. Look,
When
fine,
that started,
if you think you're a different gender
Yeah.
and all that, that's fine. But we're talking about the safety of kids going into a public bathroom.
Right.
We've got to have rules to protect them. No matter what side you're on, we got to have some rules to protect children.
I know, because you're taking them into the bathroom and they're 17 years old, and you go like, I really feel like, what age are they going to be able to go into the bathroom by themselves? Because all this is so crazy.
Well, that is one. I have seen videos of like moms beating up these, I don't even know the terminology, and I don't want to get it wrong because I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but the men who are dressing as women, the transgender, they are using women's bathrooms, and I've seen a lot of videos of moms beating up because the guy is in the bathroom and they're exposing themselves to the mom's children.
Yes.
And the moms are not having it. Like, they're just not having it.
She
I'm
bear.
like,
Don't mess with the she bear, for crying out loud. Now I know this will be hard for you to believe, but I grew up such as a tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
I wished I could have been like my brother, because my dad was so happy when he had a boy. And so I remember I was trying to work out with weights and trying to be, strong like, my brother's going to be, and all. And it was awful, though, because I hated anybody that got bullied. And I didn't even know that's what it was called, but I just couldn't stand it. Yeah. And so the boys on our block, and there was a lot of kids, boys on our block started bullying these kids. And now I'm like 11 years old. Mm-hmm. I feel like I could beat up anybody. And I was stronger a lot of times than a lot of the boys because they still hadn't gotten. And so I had this one kid on the ground, and I was hitting him with my fist. You ever talk to him like that again? I'm gonna, that you get more than this, and I'm gonna.
I've heard you off the air. I know that wasn't the words you said. But go
you
ahead.
Stupid. No, I didn't. But anyway, so I would do that, And then I would say, okay, all right, you better be nice. And I'm sitting there after beating the kid up.
You beat him up and said, you need to be nice.
And then at 13, and I played football with the boys. I played football and all. And at 13, that summer, after that summer came fall, I turned 13. All of us had turned 13, boys and everything. Mm-hmm. So we said, let's play football. It's okay. So we're playing, touch football. And so this kid, I got the ball and he tackled me. And it was like, what happened to you? It scared me so bad. And then another kid came and tackled me. And I thought, now they're all getting back at me for beating them up when they're little. But it was totally different. You know what? You're stronger than I am now. And it was a hard lesson to learn. So just beat up.
There is a physical difference.
Yeah.
And I don't think that can be ignored. And especially when it comes to sports of competing, I'm just surprised that there's not more women stepping up and saying.
That's amazing to me.
Like,
yeah.
Look, they just want to get paid.
What?
They just want to get paid.
They just want to get paid?
Yeah, that's why they're not speaking up. They still want to get paid.
No,
I mean like the fans and stuff. I don't.
Well, I mean, I think you also have to look at have they had a fight yet? Once they have a fight, then they'll really know if people are paying attention or not.
Well, it's going to take.
There has been some fights though already that have happened because I've seen photos of women that have.
But was it like the top boxing? Because I'm looking up right now, I don't see whatever this lady's talking about.
Oh, really?
You don't see the.
I'm not finding it. It's probably on Fox News and it probably got taken down.
No.
Here's the thing. My book series is The Adventures of Average Boy, and she called it The Average Kid.
Yeah.
So this could be a report on something. Put in Pearl Harbor.
We got to go from the beginning, guys. We got to make sure everybody.
The Boxing Association said they're going to let.
Well, you know what? Talk about the bathroom stuff. What I love is if I was like a business owner, I would just make it a unisex bathroom, and like because I've seen those before.
Yeah.
So no one's gonna complain ever again. It's like anyone can go in here, whatever, and then deal with it.
And you could lock it, so there's not a guy's not going to walk in.
Now I have seen that, and I think that's the best solution.
Yeah.
For everybody is have a bathroom that's for one person and make it unisex, and then that way, fine, you can walk in there thinking you're whoever you think you are. But then there's no danger for kids,
right?
To be
That's
exposed
right.
or
That's
anything.
exactly right.
Yeah, they had that at a place this weekend where they had a unisex bathroom, and then they had a men's bathroom, and the line for the unisex bathroom was so long. And I just go into the men's bathroom, like I go even this is a women's. If I have to go, the thing about guys, you have to remember if there's a line, they'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the bush.
Yeah.
Like I'm not waiting.
Go to the alley.
I'm not waiting for this.
You were at a bar, right?
Yeah.
And you would just go outside in the alley.
He was at a funeral home. That's
that's
sad.
where I was.
This was not. It was a long funeral. I mean, for his credit.
Well, true. Yeah, true. But you didn't get drunk or anything, did you?
No.
Okay, I'm so proud of you.
Wait a minute, was that a yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought he said, mm-mm.
It was great.
No, but he needs to get out.
That's what I love about him. New Testament, Old Testament.
He's had a hard year.
Yeah, it has been a hard year for him.
Yeah,
that's why I did kind of want to get here early.
And talk to him and talk him off the ledge. And so
I was never on the ledge.
He was never on the ledge. He's gonna be fine.
I'm kidding.
Look at that beard.
He's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be good.
Yeah, no, he's so cute. I tell you, you're such a triple threat. I mean, you've got a radio station that you can say, hey, you don't want to be on the radio, and you've got, you're talented and he's
Bob
so
Smiley.
Cute. You're so cute.
No Bob Smiley.
There you go.
Robert Smiley. Sorry,
Robert. Smiley.
I need to get that right.
We got to get the branding right. Yeah.
When I first met him, he had Justin Bieber hair, didn't you?
All right.
You did. Yes, you did.
Sure, I did. I had a haircut.
It looks so cute. It was just like a little boy though. But now you
I'll
look
call
like
it the John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. No, now you look like a man. And
I love how you're safeguarding yourself. It was the John F. Kennedy. That's what it was. It was not the Justin Bieber.
It was Justin Bieber. I'm sorry. I know, but
one reason I called it is that's what my mom called it when we went to like any barber.
Oh,
it's like what kind of? It's like it's called the John F. Kennedy because they all had the same haircut back in the day, like that. So
yeah, but it was really cute. But Bob,
I actually got in trouble speaking of, because normally I don't try to talk about the gender thing or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I was at a homeschool conference, and I'd already pushed the buttons because it was in California, and so I opened my show walking out, and it was like I think it was a little over 2,000 people, and I was like, "What's up, California?" Or as we call you, future Texans. Because they're all moving here.
Oh,
They're all
that's
moving.
right.
And it went from applause to booing to then laughing because they knew. They knew
right,
what
right.
it was. But
that's
it was
right.
my show was sponsored by this guy who wrote this book, like a Christian book. But he got up and he goes, "Okay, I can't believe I have to say this, but there are only two genders. And I'm going to stand on that principle." And so he was just, like talking about where he was from, and his books were about boys are boys, girls are girls, and all that. So he said all that before my show. And I was like, well, that's great, but that's also kind of an awkward, and hey, now here's Bob, waka, 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 and so I got up, I did my California joke, and I go, and I guess I need to also clarify there are only two genders. And, of course, the place went nuts. And I said, and really only one that matters. And it just went dead quiet. And then you hear one dad in the back go, "Yeah." And I was like, and you're not it. It was. I was feeling saucy that night.
You have so much fun with your audience. And that's hard to do. You have your set, and you know what you're going to say, and you've got, it's in your head and it's all organized. But then you have people that will say things, laugh at the wrong place, or do stuff, and that gives you more fodder for the rest of the show.
My favorite, and this was at the same show that I was doing with a 3-year-old comedian, but they were
Wannabe.
There was a huge youth group in the back, and one of the guys was he kind of looked like a tall Kanye West kid, but he had hood pulled over and everything. He's got his arms folded, but I can see he's laughing. So he's enjoying himself, but he's got his arms folded and stuff, and he's just looking down the whole time. And I do this joke where I talk about meeting my wife and her, and I say she's a little younger than me. So I was nervous for our first date, but her favorite band was playing in Houston, the Wiggles, and that always gets a laugh. And I go, "Oh, I wanted that date to go on forever, but it was a school night." And he stands up, and he goes, "Hold on, wait a minute, it was a school night?" And I'm like, and he's a high schooler, but to have that much moxie, that much confidence, and I wait till everybody dies down, and I go, "She was a teacher." And he just
great.
And his hoodie fell off. His hood fell off when he stood up, and he takes his hood and he puts it back down. And I go, "Any more questions, sir?" And he was like, "No, carry on. You're doing great. You're doing great." And so I've told that joke probably, I don't know. It's kind of a new bit, but I've told it probably 50 times.
That's good.
50 times, and it always is just, boom, 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 boom. I know where the laughs are and stuff. I've never had somebody stand up. So afterwards, he came up after, and I was like, "Dude, you just made that bit so fun for me."
Right.
And he was like, You got me, man. You said, school night." And I was like, "Hang on."
Well, this is what you do have your own style where, and I don't know who you studied, to listen to it. Like Bob Hope would do somewhat like this. He'd say, he'd give his 2 lines, and then he would follow it up, and the follow up was like the best.
It's misdirection.
Misdirection. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, is this something that you studied in a book, you went to class for, or how'd you figure that out?
Yes, and my dad is super funny and has always been funny.
Yes.
And so, and my dad's very good at misdirection. And so I always like that. I listened to, of course, Robin Williams. I never saw a stand-up when I was a kid, but Mork and Mindy and stuff. So that's where I got the fast pace. I like the let's move around the stage and let's let's play. I've since gone back and watched a lot of his stuff, and I'm like, oh, I like that. I like to play with the room and interact with people and just see what can develop because it makes it for a unique comedy
well,
show.
you bring all the audience in, and that's everything. It's like a lot of comedians study what's going on in that city or different politicians and all that. But you're really unique in that, and I watched that. That was like, that's so
the
clever.
misdirection
That's
thing,
really good.
Have you ever heard of Gary Shandling?
Of course.
So
it's that show.
I grew up watching him on
Yes,
the Tonight Show
everything.
and stuff, and he did a lot of misdirection jokes. And so when I first started writing, that's what made me laugh. So I was
Yes.
just writing stuff that made me laugh, and then later I'd figure
Perfect.
out, because until I started touring, I didn't know what the whole country thought was funny. I only knew what I thought was funny.
Right.
So a lot of my stuff was writing just that. So a lot of my stuff was misdirection. You know, it's an old bit, but I talk about being in church and my dad taking me outside to spank me because I'd smarted off. And it's this whole bit leading up. And I was like, and he spanked me and I deserved it, but it was embarrassing because then I had to walk back in and it was right in front of my wife. And that's a perfect example of misdirection.
That's right. Because you're not expecting that.
Yeah.
But you know what this means?
You want a sparkler.
No.
You want me to get you a Jack in the Box.
He's given me.
You're
Okay.
rolling down the window in 1976. I feel like we're doing password.
Chicken Max, thank you so much for
Thank you,
feeding
Chicken Max.
him. And Drea, thank you for your sweet hurrying up and trying to get me not late here. Yeah, right. Okay, and also
Thank
Chris
the person
Wootton.
that failed.
Chris Wootton. Chris Wootton.
12 minutes late.
Thank you so much for you being our sponsor so we could have people like Bob. Oh, you think you're going to get paid? No, this is a community.
Hey,
Okay,
Chicken Max is all I need.
Okay, there you go. I love that. Okay. Listen, our first responders, thank you.
Yes.
And we love you so much. You're so brave and you're just great. Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Don Wilson's going to be here, my Elvis Presley connection with all his stories and so many listeners. Okay.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.
From the beginning, the main purpose of the Cooperative Extension Service has been to change human behavior by teaching people how to apply the results of scientific research. By utilizing a holistic, multi-level approach, Extension family and community health programs encourage health and well-being for everyone. Addressing values, concerns, and needs with reliable science-based information, Extension programs help people lead healthier lives. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension.